Operation Mindfuck is a form of guerrilla ontology. It's a group effort involving many people, and it is an attempt to galvanize the minds of many readers and television viewers and moviegoers to suddenly see the world in a new way.
I always feel like I have multiple simultaneous reactions to things, and then the art of living is like choosing which one of these reactions to channel at any given time.
That's a different way of expressing the main idea of our podcast, validating different views of reality. I feel like a lot of people pay lip service to that, but then to actually internalize that and to actually see things simultaneously from multiple different worldviews, to concurrently hold multiple different worldviews inside of you, is an art.
I'm not sure if there's ever been a time in history before now where there's been access to ideology.
Like the concept of ideology as a thing of which there are multiples. And
yeah, like for me to do research on communism right now doesn't put me on a list.
You probably do have a communist tag on your name in the NSA database, though.
And membership in Operation Mindfuck is not secret. It's just once you understand what Operation Mindfuck is, if you are a writer or a director or otherwise involved in the entertainment, literature, theater game, you just automatically become a member if you're sympathetic to it, and Operation Mindfuck rolls merrily along. And since it is no centralized conspiracy, nobody can ever stop it, because there's nobody giving the orders.
If this is really a historically original time where
access to ideology,
access to the concept of ideology, and just being like, okay, each of those things is an ideology, and there's not just 2 or 3, there's tons of different ones and like flavors of them, and just getting that bird's eye view, if that's a historically unique thing to our information culture, how that will affect the culture is incredibly profound. At least how it's affected me has been incredibly profound. And if it became a widely adopted thing, I just can't imagine how this world wouldn't look radically different for the better.
We talk about people doing lip service to the idea of there being validity in lots of different perspectives, but not really doing the work that it requires to translate them and mix them.
I think empathizing with them, just, I want to emphasize that. Like, that's like, you can understand it as well as you want, but you have to feel where they're coming from.
Yeah, if your in-group is everyone and it's humans, you've got a lot, we've all got so much more learning to do to be able to actually talk to them. I feel like if we can click in our brain and make the choice to always value more information, even if it isn't what we already think or isn't it what we want to think, hearing more perspectives is an inherent good, because it stretches our personal idea of the realms of possibility. And that is one of the functions of this information culture movement that I think is happening right now on Earth. Even though there's no leaders, I think there's a political shift and a religious shift, or a worldview shift that's coming with the access to information that we all have, because our perceptions of the possible are being stretched. And the farther we understand real possibility to extend to, the more we're going to be able to build these bridges and create a world that is collaborative.
Create the world peace and the utopia that we all... I keep using that phrase and then being like, oh, maybe I shouldn't say that, because someone's gonna be like, oh, I don't want that. But yes, you do.
Yeah, I'd honestly argue that the conclusion that we would come to as a group, if we committed to positive regard for each other and trying to build these bridges actively and not putting up these out-group walls, that we would actually all head in the same direction.
If we had an ideological babelfish.
It's a little computer that will translate from any ideological background, for example.
You damn dirty hippie kids, stop playing hacky sack in the park and go get a damn job. I'm worried that you're not valuing the community enough.
Know what, man, you capitalist pig? You can go to hell for all I care. All you care about is your fucking profits, man. You should... you really fire me up, bro. I'm worried that you're not valuing the community enough.
Translate perfectly between different ideological speaks so that people are like, oh, I totally get the spirit and the best possible interpretation of what you're trying to say. There are sayings related more to right-wing or more empowerment messages that I don't want to like equate right-wing with empowerment.
But there is an overlap. I know what you're talking about.
Yeah,
for sure.
but where they'll say things like the pie can always grow. It's an abundance perspective almost. Like if you work hard enough, anyone can achieve a piece of the pie that's big enough for them to get what they want. And then people on the left will look at the pie and say, okay, no wait, there's this much pie right now, and we got to make sure that everybody gets their fair share of the pie. Pie here, of course, representing, basic living needs, biosurvival, food and water and education and parks and streets and just infrastructure and clean drinking water. And I want to support both of them. I want to support the idea that the pie can grow and that people can make their own pies. And I want to support the idea that the fact that some people aren't getting enough pie, even though there is enough pie for everyone, is not good. And as a community, that's something we should work out how to share it with the people who, because of systemic factors, aren't able to make new pies right now. I want to have this super optimistic view that even if there are these crazy structural problems, like the way that all these issues have crept in is like just through these weird reinterpreting of language. Oh, the Fourth Amendment that you can't be searched doesn't apply to us storing all of your phone records and phone calls. We're not searching it, we're just storing it. Just like this creative reinterpretation. And I want to have a lot of faith that our generation can take this system and maybe without revolution, just using information and creative reinterpretation, turn it into something awesome and beautiful. And maybe that's through voting some people in and like other structures simultaneously doing different things. And I will be very vague about it. And if anything positive happens in the future, I will take credit for it.
I agree with you. I really like what you said about creative reinterpretation, it being an essential part of the real revolution. If you're allow yourself to be creative and have fun with the idea of other perspectives, it's so fun to talk to someone who really believes things that you don't. The idea of infophobia versus infophilia, either enjoying and relishing new information or fearing new information. I feel like through following all of these paths simultaneously, I find the places where they intersect, and I think I'm able to see the individual strains in a clearer way in the context of having multiple strains of understanding.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
The culture shapers are becoming part of Operation Mindfuck, and the whole world is having its mind fucked. And I'm very happy that I can play a humble part in this noble endeavor.